Say now still on. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, on Hits 103.9 FM. In Kumasi, we're on Love 99.5 FM. We're also streaming live on myjoyonline.com. Across the 16 regions of Ghana, we're live on X Spaces and on Facebook. The Midday News, as always, is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Coming up, Supreme Court dismisses petition challenging the constitutionality of the anti-gay bill.
Until there is presidential assent, there is no act parliament over which the Supreme Court can act of parliament over which the Supreme Court can exercise its original jurisdiction to strike down if found to be inconsistent with the Constitution 1992. The plaintiff's action is therefore dismissed.
We'll hear from advocates of the bill. Also this afternoon, 6 NPP candidates sue the Electoral Commission over delays in finalizing results of the 2024 election in their constituency. We'll also take you to Kwashiman in the Ablikman North constituency, where fire destroyed the school building containing electoral materials. Today, our focus is on how it has impacted academic work. And later in the bulletin, Palugu Dam, Ejapadale and the National Cathedral top on the agenda of a series of suspected corruption practices. The just announced Operation Recover All Loot team will be gathering evidence on how to present these relevant institutions for the investigation and also possible prosecution.
We can put together the evidence, make sure that everything is well prepared so that when the government is inaugurated and you have an Attorney General appointed, the Attorney General, together with the Office of the Special Prosecutor, can hit the ground running.
We have more as the Majority Leader questions the source of funding of the newly inaugurated team.
If it is a private person who is funding it, they are talking about corruption. We need to know who is funding it, whose money they are going to use to buy fuel, whose money they are going to use to set up the office.
In sports,
Ghana Athletics vows to end the 72-year medal drought at the 2028 Olympics, but only on one condition.
My name is Fostina Sarfo, and we are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Thanks for choosing us. Now, we start with the Supreme Court because it has delivered its judgment in a suit against the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, also known as the Anti-LGBTQI+ Bill, dismissing the two cases. Broadcast journalist and private legal practitioner Richard Delasky and a researcher from the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Amanda Odoi, filed two separate suits challenging the constitutionality of the bill, which was passed by Parliament this year. In a unanimous decision read by Justice Lovelace Johnson, the 7-member panel of justices dismissed the cases. My colleague Blessed Ksuga was in court and he joins me in the studio. Blessed, run us through some of the key things that happened in court today.
Well, in summary, the decision of the court is just based on the conclusion that Justice Avril Lovelace Johnson and the 7-member panel agreed on. The fact that the bill as it stands is not fully a law. And based on that principle, there's no way that the concerns of Richard Sky and Amanda Odoi would have to be contained. Basically, the court believes that once the law becomes the bill becomes a full law, then, of course, all of these processes could be set in motion. So in terms of procedure and based on the fact that this is still a bill, there's no way the courts would entertain this.
Supposed interpretative jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is as yet premature, and there's nothing on which to hang the exercise of the judicial review jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. The Constitution itself has prescribed the mode by which an enactment properly so called can come into being, and by the principle of separation of powers, those processes must be exhausted to produce a tangible product that can have legal effect when properly assented to by the President, the head of the executive. Until there is presidential assent, there is no act parliament over which the Supreme Court can act of parliament over which the Supreme Court can exercise its original jurisdiction to strike down if found to be inconsistent with the Constitution 1992. The plaintiff's action is therefore dismissed. Now, the reasons will be available by close of day on Friday.
Well, you've also been hearing from Dr. Amanda Odoi. The Supreme Court said that when it comes to her case, they lack jurisdiction. Tell us more, Blessed.
Precisely the reason I was pointing to earlier. They believe that should be rechanneled to an appropriate forum. Of course, we've been hearing from people who have been speaking on behalf of Dr. Amanda Odoi herself, who we understand is not available at the moment because she is out of the jurisdiction. But we can listen to the explanation of the court on that.
Upon hearing the parties orally and on considering the arguments as contained in their statements, we come to the unanimous decision that the plaintiff's writ does not properly invoke the exclusive jurisdiction of this court. We are of the view that the subject of the litigation, being a bill still undergoing the process of becoming law, in accordance with the provisions fully set out in the Constitution, it will be premature for this court to exercise its interpretive and enforcement jurisdiction to intervene. Consequently, we think that the action fails. It is accordingly dismissed. Reasons will be available in the registry by close of day on Friday.
Well, Blessed, you engaged the lawyer for Richard Delasky, Pakwesiado. What's his reaction to this?
For lawyers of Richard Sky, the belief is that the court explains that its full reasoning for this very judgment will be delivered, or perhaps will be ready by Friday. So they are of the opinion that would have to go through the lawyers' lenses, as the lawyers are indicating to us now. So Pakwesi Bedru speaks on behalf of the counsel for Richard Delasky. You can listen to that.
You heard what he said. Yes. In full admission, the 7-member panel dismissed our writs. But let me also add that we've not as yet seen the reasons. They are asking us to apply and that it will be available latest by Friday. So for now, we don't have any cogent comments to make until we see the full reason.
One thing that is certain is that your action is premature.
I don't want to preempt the reason of the court. I heard Article 130 being quoted that the action is premature because the law had not blossomed into an act. Therefore, we had no right to come to court. The bill had not blossomed into an act. Therefore, we had no right to come to court. But please, for now, it is just a tip of the iceberg. Let's get a full judgment. Look at it with the lawyer's lenses. Then possibly advise our clients on the next step to take.
Kasabedu, what's the next line of action? I know you are saying that we should wait, go through the judgment, but in any case, are you considering further action?
Well, meanwhile, Professor Tichua Menu, who represented Amanda Odoi due to her unavailability, says they are unhappy about the ruling of the court. She reveals that her advocacy against the anti-LGBTQI+ bill has resulted in a few individuals threatening her, similar to people who identify with the sexual minority group.
So no 2 men have gone ahead to say that they should be married. But to say that I cannot defend the right of LGBT persons, you are imposing on my freedom.
How do you respond to very few cases of the attack?
Have you seen footage of them being banished from traditional areas, of being dragged to chiefs' palaces, and of sheep and other things being cut and poured on their heads? When you banish somebody, when you say that you can no longer live here, that is not an attack. When people extort money from people, when they threaten that they will reveal your identity, that is not attack. What do you understand by attack? I think that there have been enough documented cases of attacks, even without a law in effect. And this is going to embolden all kinds of people, including criminals and hooligans, from taking the law into their own hands. If LGBT people offend the law, deal with them. But to single out a group of people because you don't like their sexual or gender identity, that is what I find abhorrent.
So what are the next steps for you and the entire...
We will
assuming
wait.
the president assents to the bill, what will be your next line of action?
Yeah, so we will wait for the judgment on Friday, as the court has promised. We will wait to see what the president will do. We will advise ourselves. We are not going to stop defending people because there is a law which says we can.
Well, we can now hear from proponents of the bill, lawyer Moses Fuamini. He's executive secretary of the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. He joins us live here on the Midday News. Thank you so much for your time. You must be excited about the development, especially because the president refused to accept the transmission of the bill assented by Parliament due to the legalities in court.
My dear, well, good afternoon, and good afternoon to all your listeners. I am not the sort of person, and the coalition is not about gloating or being excited. I'm always asked this question, are we excited? Of course we are not. We are glad that the court has looked at the law and has applied it. And by the way, greetings to, my learned senior, Professor Tichua Menu. She should be welcome to the hard world of law practice. I know, because clearly if she had looked at the law critically, she would have seen that this case was premature, and we said so right from the beginning. You can't invoke the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in a matter of this nature in respect of an Article 1-2 provision, because you can only invoke it if it is in respect of a matter, anything done or by or under an enactment. Clearly, this was a bill, and it wasn't an enactment, it wasn't law yet. So their whole action was premature, and this is something that we had told them. And for Richard was my student, and he knows that we went through this process in the classroom. This is something he knows. All the arguments that he went and rehearsed in the Supreme Court had been rehearsed in tutorials in class. So honestly, I was a bit surprised he pursued that as a course of action, but that is fine. And the Supreme Court has landed where the law is firmly supposed to be.
With regards to Richard Delasky's case, at what point would it be appropriate to challenge the constitutionality of the bill?
When the bill has been signed into law, when it has become legislation, when it is law. Because at this stage, if you look at Article 101, is it 1067? Once the bill is passed, Parliament is supposed to transmit it to the President. The President has got a within which to consider whether to sign or not, or to indicate his inability to sign, and to refer it to the Council of State for 3 months. And if it comes and he still has objections, then he doesn't act on it, then Parliament can recall the law and with a 2/3 majority override the President's objection to it. So there are processes that you got to go through before the bill becomes an act, and that will then form the basis for the Supreme Court exercising its original jurisdiction. As I say, the constitutional jurisdiction of the Supreme Court can then be invoked.
What's your expectation of the president moving forward now?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what's your expectation of the president moving forward now?
Good question, my dear. And I am hoping that Ghanaians will make a note of this. I've listened to all the discussions after the election. Very few people have noticed that this bill, this legislation, representing the way Ghanaians look at the whole LGBT phenomenon, was on the ballot. And Ghanaians have roundly rejected the position that our president had taken. Because here is a bill that was passed by all the parliamentarians, fortunately on the 28th of February, which is very symbolic in Ghanaian history. And then the president, this whole case, well, some people say it was cooked, but it probably was, because ask yourself, how in a speech before the whole action was commenced, the president was able to say, an individual is going to file an action in court. How did the president get to know all of this? Well, so at this moment, the Ghanaian electorate, we the people have spoken, and we have roundly rejected his views and some of the things that he represented together with his party.
Okay.
So I hope that he will redeem himself when the bill is transmitted, by signing the bill. If he doesn't, trust me, there'll be consequences for his party and for himself, and other matters that I will personally share with him if I have the opportunity. But
Thank you,
clearly,
Lawyer
this is
Moses,
an
for
opportunity for
Amweni.
him to sign the bill.
Thank you so much for your time here on the Midday News. Now, in Parliament, NDC MPs have welcomed the decision of the Supreme Court to dismiss the actions filed against the anti-LGBTQI plus bill. Reacting to the ruling, MP for Medina, Francis Xavier Susu, argued that the Supreme Court has finally done the right thing.
I think that the court just upheld the position of the law because Parliament is a legislative arm of government. The work of Parliament ends with a presidential assent. If the president does not assent, there are provisions in the Constitution that shows what the president is supposed to do. Convey in a memorandum to Parliament the reason for refusal to assent, for Parliament to then take further steps, whether to amend provisions of the law and so on and so forth. But I think the action filed by my brother Richard Sky was quite premature.
It's a good time to take you to Parliament now and speak to Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante. He's there for us. Kweku, we're expecting the Finance Minister to lay the expenditure in advance of appropriation. Has that been done yet?
Well, for the third day running, the Finance Minister is not in the House. They just got to item 7 on the other paper, which has to do with this mini budget. The Finance Minister was expected to present this. He was still not in the chamber as of now. So that matter has been deferred. Either he comes later in the day or this will be delayed up until tomorrow. The only semblance of movement around a mini budget is that the President has written to the Speaker of Parliament approving some estimates for the Judicial Service, the Parliamentary Service, as well as the Audit Service for the 2025 first quarter. But all that will mean nothing until the Finance Minister presents the budget itself. Then these estimates that have come from the President will all be incorporated. So Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, for the third day running, has still failed to present the mini budget for first quarter of 2025.
It reads, Mr. Speaker, 2025 budget of the judicial.
Kweku, what else is the House considering today?
Well, there are a number of bills that the House will have to deal with, in particular matters having to do with the Ghana Boundary Commission Bill, the Environmental Protection Bill, as well as the Social Protection Bill. And because the mini budget hasn't come, they are dealing with this budget. But just gone by, there was a statement by the ranking member on the Education Committee on government's indebtedness to WAEC. The Speaker has directed the Education Minister to come and brief the House. He was in the chamber today, but he did say he was not prepared. He did not have the facts. And so he has been leaving up until tomorrow to brief the House on how government intends to settle the debt it owes the West African Examination Council.
Thank you, Kweku Asante. Away from Parliament now, 6 candidates who contested for parliamentary seats in the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections have petitioned an High Court asking it to order the Electoral Commission to promptly compile and announce the parliamentary results of the constituencies in which they ran. In the studio with me is Joy News editor Fred Smith. Fred, what are the details?
Well, the 6 candidates want the court to order the Electoral Commission to promptly compile and announce the results. And these candidates represent 6 out of the 12 constituencies that the MPP won the results of the parliamentary polls recollated. They are Martin Kweku Ejemensa Kosa, who stood on the ticket of the MPP in Techiman South, Nana Ikuya Wuso Free for Ablikuma North, Frank Anodompre for Nsawem Edwejiri, Patrick Yabuama for Kankwe Central, Charles Forson. He stood on the party's ticket in Tema Central, and Eric Nana Ajiman Prempe for Ahafo Ano North.
I'm wondering, what are the details of the reliefs they're seeking from the court?
Well, they are requesting 2 directives from the High Court. First is an order of mandamus directed at the Electoral Commission compelling it to collate and declare the results and winner of the Tema Central constituency parliamentary election held on 7 December through the returning officer as required by law. Secondly, they are praying to the court for an order directed at the Inspector General of Police to provide adequate and armed security presence to the Electoral Commission at the designated collation center to enable it to perform its constitutional and statutory duty of conducting and supervising public elections.
Thank you, Fred Smith, for bringing us that update. Now, still on elections, it's been 24 hours since flames ravaged the Kwashiman cluster of schools in that constituency, and the charred building stands as a grim reminder of what was lost. The school compound, once filled with laughter of children, is now a crime scene and cordoned off, leaving some learners at home while others take turns writing their exams in nearby building. For parents, residents and students, the aftermath of the fire is not just about the ruins, it's about the uncertainty it has left in its wake. My colleague Jacqueline Ansuma spent the morning there to engage the students. Let's listen.
All right, so Midday and I saw say na ujina ha oni manage na ha say and uti news no then about him and how is this affecting you? Hold on, me from.
Midday, I say and quite of my bet nephew, and I say some said the I see what I say a better ebia so make us almost solve issue with my Kalana ba. I just say 2 to 3 months answer. And I know so one thing is I'm calling some more or more exams. Mama did exam fee ways or more better exams. Na seminar CC.
Yeah.
The ama umwaka no muso mu ofianya agronkwa no mu di na echi basa. What I say.
Na oma se ne wa ha. Mienu ne wa ha say. Nti mienu ne sisi ano omo ofie.
So omo ofie. No, I want to edumani obi enifi omunti asem se asisi means me ko eduma because me no obi enya dem em fan plan in jana me. Okay.
My colleague Jacqueline Ansuma while they're interacting with the parents, just talking about the impact of the shutdown of the school. You're still listening to the Midday News. When we return from this quick turn, Palugu Dam, Ejapadil and the National Cathedral top on the agenda of a series of suspected corruption practices. The just announced Operation Recover All Loot team will be gathering evidence to present to relevant institutions for investigation and possible prosecution.
We can put together the evidence, make sure that everything is well prepared so that when the government is inaugurated and you have an Attorney General appointed, the Attorney General, together with the Office of the Special Prosecutor, can hit the ground running.
We'll also tell you what makes Christmas special to Ghanaians beyond the celebration of the birth of Christ.
Mine is the food. That's when delicious meals and the food. Most people like the rice with the chicken and stuff, but I would like to go with the fufu. You see the
Where did I? Now I don't know many just are.
Obiang, what's your chroma? And to want to say Petrosol for your energizing drinks for motion. Hey boy.
Petrosol are celebrating their 10 years in grand style. They're giving back to their loyal customers. Hope you have registered at their online portal. Don't say I didn't tell you all.
Each month, customers will stand a chance of winning items like tricycles, motorcycles, television sets, refrigerators, phones, fuel vouchers, and many more. But the best part is that at the end of the promo, we will be giving out a grand prize of 2 Suzuki Espresso cars to lucky winners who stay with us all through the promo period. All you need to join is to visit any of our over 100 stations across the country to get registered, or go to www.petrosolcrm.com to register online.
Petrosol, energizing dreams.
Get ready for another exciting and memorable time with the family as we bring you yet another fun-packed edition of the JoyFM Family Party in the Park.
Set in the Ebri Botanical Gardens, families will once again be treated to lots of bonding and fun activities such as cooking competitions, tag of peace, sack race, musical chairs, dancing competitions, and so much more.
Guess what? We're taking it a notch higher this year. There will be a whole food village where some of your favorite food brands will be present, so you don't need to bother about food at all.
And the new Games Village will be lit with assorted 3D games, FIFA, and many others. This Christmas, Santa will be there with his bag of goodies for the family.
That's not all. Kamido, Kwampa, Kwabena, and many other artists will mount the stage to light up the party.
The Joy FM Family Party in the Park is simply the place to be for families this Christmas.
Mark the date, 26th of December 2024.
Ebri Botanical Gardens, 10 a.m. sharp. Tickets are going for only 200 Ghana cedis for a family of 6.
To purchase your ticket, use the short code *714*003*3#. Select Party in the Park and follow the prompt.
The Joy FM Family Party in the Park is brought to you by Frito Cooking Oil. You deserve a life of goodness. Fortune Low Fat Spread for Bread. Always on point. DBS Roofing Industry, your roof experts. Velton's Beer, distributed by Kingdom Books and Stationery. Aquaba Bottled Mineral Water. Day by Day Men, distributed by Dream Cosmetics. Joy FM Family Party in the Park, creating memorable family moments.
You're still listening to the Midday News, and Mubarak joins me in the studio with sports. What's trending?
Yes, Fostina, Ghana Athletics has vowed to end the nation's 72-year medal drought at the Olympic Games. Ghana has won 5 medals at the global event, with none coming from athletics. The Federation's president, Bao Fuseni, promises to change the narrative with an annual investment from the government.
Preparations start now. Olympic game is so huge that if you leave it for federations to prepare for it, we will never get there. The federation can get the athletes, the federation can get the coaches, but the federation will lack the financial muscle to be able to get the athlete to where the athletes want to be. Australia, they are doing it. UK, they are doing it. Kenya, they are doing it. Why can't we do that? So our preparation for the Olympic 2028 should start 2025, not only by word, but it should also be by deed. If the state of Ghana give her resources, Ghana Athletics give her resources every year, between $500 to $1 million a year, I can guarantee it that 2028 Ghana will win the medal at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, Bao Fuseni is the president of Ghana Athletics. Back to you, Fostina.
Thank you, Mubarak. Now, chairman of the newly inaugurated anti-corruption team, Operation Recover All Loot, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, will operate an open door policy where it will welcome information and evidence from the public concerning numerous suspected corruption practices that have caused financial loss to the state. The Norton MP said the team seeks to gather evidence on suspected corruption practices, including the botched Ejapa deal, the stalled National Cathedral project, the construction of the Palugu Dam, and the purchase of Sputnik V vaccines by the then Health Minister Kweku Agyemang-Menu.
You do know that some people jetted into this country, claimed they were going to provide us a sky train, and made away with over $2 million. That money has not been retrieved. There is another group made up of shonky sheikhs who said they were going to provide us with Sputnik V vaccines, you recall. The then Health Minister, Honorable Kweku Agyemang-Menu, said that he was under pressure and was not thinking straight, and that's how come he was duped. So over $2.5 million has not been retrieved since it was given to those shonky sheikhs. There are a whole host of others. Palugu Dam, over $12 million. Ejapa, over $12 million. And National Cathedral, $58 million. No value for money. You have read the Shraj report. Shraj confirming that that whole project was an illegality. They didn't follow the procurement laws of our country. There has been no value for money. Ghanaians really voted for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for accountability.
But even before the team begins work, the majority leader, Alexander Vanyon-Markin, has begun punching holes on how it will function. He has questioned the source of funding of the group.
I know how governance is, so I wouldn't want to rush them. All these things that my respected colleague Ablakwa is saying, they did citizens vetting committee during the revolution. It didn't get anywhere. Let him have it.
Before we go for a break.
I'm saying they set it up.
Yes, before we go for a break, quick one.
I'd like to end. Sorry.
Okay, please go ahead.
Somebody may have to ask Mr. Ablakwa how that committee's work will be funded. If it is a private person who is funding it, they are talking about corruption. We need to know who is funding it, whose money they are going to use to buy fuel, whose money they are going to use to set up the office, whose money, because going around gathering evidence, I'm aware that they've been calling some journalists. Somebody says that, he's going to be Attorney General, he's calling journalists for information and all that, blah, blah, blah. No problem. But we will need to know the committee that he heads. How would that committee be funded?
Well, Christmas is a special time of the year for a lot of Ghanaians, not just because of its celebration and the birth of Jesus Christ, but because of the love in the air during the season. My colleague Esther Nkrumah visited the bustling streets of Osu to interact with patrons to find out what exactly makes Christmas special for them.
On the second day of this, when you see the streets of Accra and major roundabout lit up with glittering fairy lights and beautiful decorations, you know it's that time of the year again, Christmas.
Come and behold him, born the King of angels.
Christmas is a favorite time of the year for many people. For some, it's more than just a religious significance. It's a time to show love to others, bond with family, and well, it's about the excitement of receiving hampers from employers and loved ones. And not to forget the much-deserved break from work.
We're here on the vibrant streets of Osu to find out what makes Christmas truly special to people. Is it the joy that comes from giving, the warmth from family, or perhaps something special? We'll find out.
We individuals, we normally see that as a whole year that you've been alive, then as the year is going to end, you need to give thanks to God. And at the same time, actually celebrate with your family. Just gather your family and then just show some love and make them happy.
But to me, being alive alone, get to spend time with families and friends that I haven't seen for a long time alone is enough for me.
Well, that's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Fostina Sarfo. Up next is Living Word with Dr. Mensa Otabel.
Hey, so as for you, every day you are just pressing your phone. Why? Are they paying you?
They are, Oma. The more I use my MTN, the more points I get. And I can use those points to get airtime, data, and even discounts at shops and restaurants.
Hey, so that is why all of you are always pressing your phones. And you won't tell us, so that we too we can enjoy some.
Oh, ma.
There's always more to enjoy with MTN Rewards. Just keep talking, testing, and browsing all day, every day to collect your points and use it to redeem amazing offers and discounted freebies right away. There's so much available for you. So dial *550# and get your reward today. Let's go everywhere you go.
Kweku, have you heard what they are doing on MTN?
Are you ready to get way more chances to win with Betway? Every single day, you have the key to unlock 5 free spins on Mega Money Wheel, where you stand to win a massive 1 million Ghana cedis jackpot. All you need to do is to log in and take your spin. Exclusive to Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way. Betway. Get way more.
On the first
Electroland Xmas Bonanza is here. Enjoy terrific discounts and amazing free gifts on top electronics and appliances from Samsung, TCL, Media, and NASCO. Unbelievable offers. NASCO 50 LED flat TV, 3,699 Ghana cedis. NASCO 4-burner from 1,999 Ghana cedis. NASCO bottom freezer plus 3-set cooking pot at 2,699 Ghana cedis. With Media 1.5 R40 inverter AC, a refreshing season is guaranteed. Buy Media 198-liter freezer at 3,000